Okay, so this video is an introduction to the series. I'm going to have a playlist about the Case Ingersoll tractor and a few repairs needed on this one. And this one also has homemade vacuum bagging cart. Those that are not familiar with these, Case and Ingersoll make the same tractor under different names. I'm not sure why that is. But anyway, I think they still make just about the same tractor today. This one's probably from the 80s. A little bit unusual in the fact that everything is hydrostatic. That's why they call it a hydriv, or hydraulic they call it. Not really a true hydrostatic, I guess. But basically, the engine is a vertical engine. This one happens to be Onan B18M, and it runs a shaft out the front. You can barely see it. That goes to a fan and to your implement drive, and then the one out the back goes to a coupler that goes to the hydraulic pump that runs the rear end. And these are somewhat unusual. It's a true garden tractor. It's designed for ground engaging implements, which is the designation, the difference between a lawn tractor and a garden tractor. This one could pull a plow or something of that nature. It's pretty heavy duty. This one has an unusual left-hand discharge deck. This particular one is, I think, a 48. Let me see if I can find the detail on that. N46. There's several different designations. So that's a 46-inch deck. Shows here how you route your belts. A little washed out in the sun here, but the belt here we can see it better on this side. You got a fan that cools the hydraulic fluid, which is being pumped through it, and this little part here is the clutch that engages your drive, which goes down to, I guess they call it a mule drive, and then it turns it the same plane as the deck. This is an Onan twin-cylinder engine. You got a decent, easy access to the battery, the solenoid. Most of the stuff is easy. One of the things I wouldn't mind trying to replace is this ammeter, which mine is cracked, and you can see the condensation has gotten in there, and that'll fail soon. But the problem is, you got to take out half the world. It looks like all this stuff would have to come out in order to get at the back of that gauge. So I don't think that's going to be an easy one. It has quite large rear tires on it. This one, they have a little mini toolbox here for miscellaneous parts. Fuel tank here with the nice viewing window, so you don't have to keep popping the cap. This one's particularly outfitted with a valve, an auxiliary hydraulic valve, and it runs this suction machine, which is attached to the deck. So for the suction machine, for those that don't know, there's a block off plate underneath there. You would need this snorkel or adapter, and then some hose, and you'd need the bracket on the tractor, the bracket for the mount, the fan assembly itself, and then as far as the hydraulics go, wherever these tubes go, you'd need that all hooked in. You can retrofit another tractor without one. I'm not sure what parts are required, but basically this has a separate shutoff. That's what this lever's for here. Turns on and off, and then you just have a basic hydraulic drive motor that turns that fan, and it creates a pretty good amount of draft, suction, whatever you want to call it. It's called a hydriv. So that's kind of a neat thing. This trailer obviously started life as a standard garden trailer. I had a big piece of metal left over from something, so I made it in an arch fashion because that was the simplest design to make. And then I just put wood covering over, because my metal that I had wasn't long enough. Put wood coming over, and I I put a flange here. I'll show you a little bit about that. This flange needs to be able to rotate a little bit as the tractor's turning, because the vac part, this hose doesn't need to flex. That's all one piece. That never moves with the tractor. Never. It's attached to the tractor on both sides. This part is independent, and it actually needs to rotate just slightly. So what I did, and all this stuff is kind of just handmade, I made that hole and just made a put some channel there, and then I just dropped this down. Of course you can't see right now. Drop that down. Well, I found out that as I was riding, because you know this rubber hose wants to go straight again if it had a chance to, it would ride up and come out of there. So then I took just a bungee strap just to kind of keep it down. And then as far as the back door, what I was finding was there was such pressure pushing. The back door is just plywood. There was such a pressure pushing on the back. So what I did here, I just took a huge washer and cut a slot so it can't come, you know, the wood can't come back on me. And then these ones, I originally thought this was going to be enough just to keep the door from, you know, tipping off of there, but it's not even close. So just as a temporary measure, I just put some ratchet straps just to keep that bugger on there, because when you look back and the spilled out half your grass, kind of ruins your day. This trailer does have a dumping feature also. That's why I had this removable here. This trailer can tilt, and it can help you dump. Although I found that to be not very helpful, because the angle it can dump on, it's not really going to just empty itself. So you end up having to go in there and pull it out anyway. But it holds a whole bunch, and this wheel chops them real good. So you can get, I mean, what would be bushels and bushels of extra stuff in there, because it's all chopped fine, and it really settles in the trailer real nice. And then for the exit, it already had a cutout on it. The metal had a piece of cutout, so I just put some mesh wire over there, and it blows out just fine. So anyway, this what things I know I want to do on this. It has a starter that's always giving me problems. I always have to just keep oiling the front gear, which is actually located down here. Here's the starter. You can see it, but the bolts are all hidden behind. Who knows what all we're going to have to take apart there. The other thing is, this tractor was left in a flooded area for 3 months until I could retrieve it, and every single it eats belts now, basically. These sheaves, pulleys, are all pitted on the inside, and they're the cast iron ones. Not just the one on the top here, but especially the ones underneath this cover, which there's one for each blade. This is a triple blade setup. Those, I think I'm going to have to replace all of them, because they are just eating belts under there. This one's not so bad. It was high enough maybe, but the ones that were under the cover, by the time I could retrieve it out of the flood, they were pitted bad. So probably have to take those out. So like I say, I'm starter for sure, pulleys. If I get really ambitious, I might try getting after that ammeter. You might have a chance through an access panel down there on the dash. I don't know if you can reach up there, or if there's a lot of stuff in your way, or what. Never really worked on one of these too much. So that's going to be the series. This is just an introduction, obviously, and I think I'm going to start with the starter, because without that, why am I fixing anything else? Okay, the camera just shut off there suddenly. This one has a range selector here, neutral, high, and low. If you put that on high, she'll move pretty good. I forget, you can get on tractordata.com and figure out the actual ground speeds, but it'll move along at a reasonable rate. You know, if you're not cutting and you just need to get from here to there, that's an awfully helpful, real time saver over, you know, another tractor that might not have it. But anyway, that's the overview of this one. I'm going to get started on the starter video next, so watch for that coming up.